Hello everyone, I'm Ben Contreras, and welcome to the very first episode of Ben Talks About in the new year of 2023. I feel like this year is going to be a good year for not only me and this channel, but also for a lot of other people out there. So, as per somewhat tradition on this channel, I want to go ahead and start off the year by showing off all of the stuff that I got for Christmas the previous year of 2022. This year was definitely probably one of, if not the best, personal favorite Christmas hauls that I've gotten. In terms of all the ones that I've gotten personally for myself, and I'm just going to go ahead quickly go through some of them, how I feel about all of these, of which their franchises come from, and all sorts of stuff. And I want to go ahead and start off with the most somewhat comedic but also very thoughtful presents that I got from this year. And right here. On the back, it just looks like a normal, everyday sort of gray tank top. But once I turn it on the other side, as you can see right there, I'm not quite sure if this is exactly officially licensed by the owners of Attack on Titan. But even if it's not, it's still pretty hilarious because that meme right there is pretty good. And of course you can never go wrong with Sasha, aka the best and most underappreciated character in all of Attack on Titan, which makes the later half of the series all the more sad because I just recently completed the entire manga, and I just could not win with that series in terms of getting invested in characters. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one right here. I guess I may as well go by size now while I'm at it. Right here is something that I actually did not expect to get at all. This was actually the most surprising out of all of these. Right here is supposed to be just like a ring holder here. As you can see, there's a little like gaps that are like hold each of these different types of rings. But as you can see, it's in the shape of like a wiener dog, which I think it's really adorable. I've more or less always been more of a dog person than a cat person. Not that cats are bad or anything. It's just I've always wanted a dog. And yeah, I really enjoy the way these rings look. They give off like a sort of Skyrim sort of fantasy vibe to it, and I'm all for that kind of stuff. As you can no doubt know from the videos that I had posted on the series. Afterwards, right here, this right here is just this is just straight up the company that makes these things, so these aren't technically officially licensed by the main company, but right here is just a variety of, well, some of them, I've already used some of them, but there are a bunch of screen protectors for Nintendo 2DS's. They also come with wipe and cleaning packets and all that. I've had my 2DS for quite a few years now, ever since I believe 2018, I want to say, when I first got it, and I've been trying to take as good care of it as possible. I made a video a few years ago talking about the 2DS and why I like it so much. So being able to have a series of screen protectors for them is definitely a very nice touch. It is kind of a shame though that those, as well as the covering that I got the previous year for, are really the only kind of accessories you can really buy for a 2DS. You can't really do that much in terms of in terms of upgrading them. By the way, here's what the rings look like while they're out of the case. If I were held up at gunpoint to choose which one is my favorite, I'd probably have to go with this owl one right here. If you want to get a good look at that. So, let's see, afterwards, oh yes, speaking of different forms of jewelry, I also got this right here. Speaking of giving off Skyrim vibe, this dragon right here, looks really nice. It gives off that sort of vibe, and I have quite the variety of necklaces. I might show that off in a video at some point this year. But yeah, this looks really cool. It does have quite a bit of weight to it, so it feels really nice. And also, it does give a lot of Skyrim vibes, but I also sort of start to think of the dragon that was in the first Shrek movie. It has that sort of head shape as well. But yeah, I still think it's really good. Just go ahead and go like that. If I'm able to put this on without actually looking at it. There we go. Alrighty, the next major thing that I got right here, I've been meaning to get a new wallet for quite a while now, and so this is definitely quite the welcome surprise. It's as you know, it's a wallet that's themed around Kirby, as you can see right there. As you know, Kirby is probably one of my favorite Nintendo franchises, as you've seen from the countless amount of Kirby Let's Plays that we've done on this channel throughout the years, and we still got quite a few more left to go. But that's not until way later. But yeah, I really enjoy if the wallet feels like a very good sort of quality. If you can hear that right there, the texture of it it feels really it feels like it has longevity. I feel it's gonna last for quite a while. Let's see. The next thing I believe should be these guys all right here. Now, I've done videos on Ultraman figures way in the past when I actually did consider these type of videos reviews rather than just me talking about stuff. But yeah, I got 3 of these Ultramen right here. We got on this side right here, we got Ultraman Zafi. We got Ultraman, I believe Hikari is his name. His name of the blue one right there. Yeah, he's definitely, I believe, the oldest out of these 3 in terms of their actual show, because a lot of the earlier Ultramans, they tend to have a design that's very similar to the base of the original. Meanwhile, the later ones tend to be a lot more sort of unique looking. And also, as for Hikari, you don't really see that many blue Ultramans being talked about, except for Ultraman Cosmos, of course. Ultraman Mebius, as you can see right there, probably one of the more underappreciated, I'd say, Ultraman series. It was one of the last ones that was considered part of that major continuity. And its design is definitely one of the more unique ones out of the newer ones. And then we also have Ginga right there, who definitely got one of the more. You can clearly tell that he came out during the 2010s because of the amount of sort of sharp edges he has on his design right there. So yeah, those guys are all part of what's called the Ultra 500 series, I believe is the name of it. All of those are essentially 5-inch figures, which, while they aren't as overly detailed, or at the very least the monsters compared to the actual Ultraman, because the Ultramen always have rather simple design. It's not really that hard to do a more detailed variation of these guys, but the monsters in this line are definitely a lot less detailed and paint accurate compared to the old 6-inch figures. Speaking of the 6-inch figures right there, just so you can get a little bit of size comparison right here. This right here, I believe, is Alien Magma from, he's definitely from one of the original series. A lot of the monsters in the Ultra series that have the sort of alien moniker, a lot of them have designs that I'm not too keen with, because a lot of them definitely give off I don't know why, but they always give off somewhat of a creeper sort of vibe. I don't know what it is about them, but Alien Magma, I think, is one of the exceptions, where he looks human enough, but he also looks unique enough to not be overly distracting. So yeah, he's been one that I've been wanting to get for quite a while now, and I actually have quite a variety of different Ultraman figures that I could make videos talking about in the future. But yeah, as you can see, the size comparison right there of the 5-inch figures compared to the 6-inch figures. So yeah, there is quite the height gap. It's kind of weird that that hole right there of his head is an entire inch. It really puts measurements into perspective when you really think about it. Speaking of, I guess, tokusatsu related stuff, what I have right here, as you no doubt remember from the previous Christmas haul video I did, I recently got the DVD set for the complete series of Power Rangers Dino Thunder, which I went ahead and watched all the way through. So I went ahead and got the next best thing, which was the DVD set for the series of Power Rangers SPD. Definitely one of the series that, if for people who have seen it, is definitely one of the better Disney era seasons of Power Rangers. I'm about halfway through the series, and I sort of forgot how unintentionally funny this series can be at times, because there are points in the show where it takes itself a lot more seriously, and considering the fact that it is still at its core the same sort of in the same franchise as Mighty Morphin or Turbo or Zeo and all that, it really comes off as it takes itself seriously enough for it to be funny, but at the same time not it being like ridiculous and not fun to watch, because it is very fun to go through. But yeah, this is of course the complete series released by Shout Factory, which is basically the only way you're going to be getting newer versions of this series without getting DVDs for higher prices that are much more out of print. These ones are you can still find very easily on Amazon for the for a lot of the season, at least from the original Mighty Morphin to RPM. These are definitely the best in terms of overall quality. So yeah, I'm really excited to go through more of that. And speaking of Power Rangers, just like very similar to how last year I got one of the characters from the Lightning Collection of Power Ranger figures, I also got this guy right here. This is the Lightning Collection figure version of the character Finster from the original Mighty Morphin series. For those of you who don't remember, he was the one who made all of the monsters for the main villain Rita. And this is probably one of the very first time we actually got a Finster figure in this sort of overall quality. There's the back of the box right there. So yeah, I was really surprised when I found out that they were going to be making this, because Finster is actually a very underrated character in the Power Rangers universe. I feel like in terms of like characters who are the monster makers of the villains group, I feel like Finster was one of the ones that isn't as talked about enough compared to all the other villains. Most of them you either talk about Rita, Lord Zed, or Goldar. But I feel like Finster was definitely, he was definitely an important part of the series, and I feel like it would have been cool to see him somewhat become a good guy later on in the series, but maybe that's asking for a bit too much. So yeah, that's all in terms of the Power Ranger related stuff. Now let's go ahead and move on to a series that I've been slowly talking about more and more on this channel, and that is the likes of the Pokemon franchise. Right here are two separate sized Pokemon plushes right here. One of them is, of course, the electric Pokemon Shinx. Pretty much my favorite out of all the lines in Generation 4 of Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Just because you can't look at that thing right there and tell me that that thing is not adorable. Like, just take a look at that thing. Even if you're not a fan of Gen 4, you gotta admit that that's adorable. And of course, I also got the Generation 8 water starter from Sword and Shield, that being Sobble, who is the most underrated and objectively the best out of the Gen 8 starters. Anyone who says Scorbunny is the best starter is just wrong. But yeah, I believe these two are actually from the Pokemon Center, which is a which, while primarily known for being the store that are in New York City and in Japan, they do have an online store, which is a very cool thing to have, but it feels like either they always have their stuff out of stock, or they have it so that their website just straight up doesn't work and says that there is nothing there at all when clearly there is. So yeah, they really got to work on that on their website. Alrighty, afterward, I'm gonna go ahead and save, because I got quite a few manga series here, so I'm gonna go ahead and save those for last. Right here, I actually got a variety of different anime poster artwork, and as you can see right there, all of them are centered around the series Spy Family, or a Spy X Family, if you're one of the ones who actually pronounces the X in between the two words in the title. Yeah, this is a series that I have had heard about for a while now. My brother actually has the English version of the manga that's been released so far, and then we started watching the anime version of it on Hulu, and I was actually surprised on how um, much I liked the series. It seemed like a series that I would have liked regardless, but it is definitely probably one of the best series that have come out in quite a while now. I believe I actually might have talked about it when I made my video about talking about my opinions on Chainsaw Man. So yeah, this one is definitely one that is worth checking out. The main cast of all three main characters is definitely the highlight of the whole series, because they're characters that are interesting, but at the same time they're fun. They're fun to watch through and all that. As long as you can go over the fact that it is more of a comedy rather than a spy sort of action show, it does tend to be a lot more comedic at most points, but still it's a very good series. And also, the main character Lloyd here is literally just going to be me in 10 years, just without the spy part of his occupation. But yeah, those are really cool. I gotta find places to hang up those. And now we get ourselves to the coup de grace, as I like to call it, of my Christmas haul right here. As you can no doubt see right here, there's quite the variety of, not necessarily different mangas here, but there are a lot of manga volumes right here. And the one that immediately catches your guys' attention is the rest of the Death Note series, not counting the 13th volume, which doesn't really count because that's just a biography volume of all the characters. But yeah, I now officially have Death Note series 7 through 12, which is basically the final act of the series, aka before the major events happen, the series doesn't become as good as it did during the start of the series, but still, the fact that I have this series at all, because this series is one that is very, very difficult to find at the bookstores nowadays because of the time that it came from. So the fact that I got these is very much welcome because I've been wanting to get these for quite a while now, and as you can no doubt remember, this is very I guess cathartic could be the sort of word you can use, because I remember if you guys remember way back then when I first started doing the Ben Talks About series, I talked about one of the first series of ones that I did were of the volumes of Death Note that I had at the time, and I unfortunately never got to follow up on that. But now, since I have all these volumes here, that gives me more of an opportunity to actually talk more and more about the series. But first I gotta find the time to actually read these volumes here, because my manga collection has gotten so big to the point where it's getting harder and harder to catch up with the series that I already have, because I'm constantly getting new ones, which is something that I really gotta work on. Speaking of new mangas right here, this one right here has been one that I've been curious about for a really long time now, ever since I saw clips from the anime series of it. This is the first volume of the Black Lagoon series. This series is definitely one of the ones that has gotten a sort of cult following, I want to say. For those who have watched it, they know that it is definitely a very good series, especially for one that came out during the early 2000s. But yeah, it's been a series that I've been wanting to uh, read and talk about for a while now, mostly because of the main protagonist, Reverie, right here. He's basically more or less the character who sort of started the modern day equivalent of like badass female characters and all that. And the story itself is very interesting, as you can see from this bookmark that I put right here. I'm only close to halfway through this first volume, and so far it's definitely it's definitely a very good but also very crazy sort of series. Stuff happens very quickly, and it is quite, as you can see from the header on the back of the volume right here, non-stop explosive action, which is pretty much very accurate to the series itself. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to getting more and more of this series. This is another series that I believe is pretty much non-existent at bookstores today, at least the ones that I usually go to. So I'm more or less going to have to rely on Amazon for getting more volumes of this, which that's perfectly fine. And whatever isn't available at bookstores physically, you're able to basically find and able to buy them online, no hassle at all. So yeah, overall, I would definitely, once again, as I had said before, this is definitely one of my personal favorite in terms of overall hauls that I've gotten. I don't quite sure. I'm not quite sure if I could exactly pick a favorite in terms of the things that I got, but I am very much happy with what I have right here in terms of everything that I can show currently on camera. Um, so yeah, I hope you, with that in mind, I hope you all enjoyed this sort of Christmas haul. I always have fun making these and showing off to all of you guys what I ended up getting. I hope all of your holidays were just as fantastic as well. I say that, and yeah, it has been like almost like 2 or 3 weeks since Christmas. Um, so yeah, here's to a very good year for not only this channel but for all of you. As for me, I definitely want to put a lot more focus on being more experimental with the channel. I want to try and make more videos that I would want to make but just have never gotten the time. I want to actually make time to make those videos. I'll probably make a sort of semi-update video later on showing off some of the things that I will be trying to do. On this channel this year, but it's just a matter of me being able to actually, of buying the time to actually, make it possible. So, until I see you all next time, I am Ben Contreras, and